start the live stream. There we go. The live stream, I think, has started. And there we go. Let's get ready to rumble. It popped up. Excellent. GFI, if you wouldn't mind monitoring the YouTube channel and let us know when people are putting stuff in the live chat. And that way I can keep the screen on the chat here, if you don't mind. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, I know we probably don't have a whole lot of viewers yet. If you let us know the viewers, and once we get up to maybe 5 or 10 viewers, we'll probably go ahead and do an official start on the YouTube channel. Okay, thank you, sir. And let's see. Yeah, we got quite a few people in the chat, but I think a lot more are going to be coming in. Let's go ahead and let everyone know we're live in the other chat. And there's the other chat. Okay. And I wish we could turn off that noise when people come in. Yep. Okay, Greg, do we have a head count for people in the live stream? Okay, we have 4 people in right now, it looks like, here on the YouTube studio. Okay, gotcha. Eli, Chaz. Okay, gotcha. Trying to figure out how to read edit. Gotcha. Yeah, I think we're all trying to figure out how to read edit. Reddit. Chaz. Okay, here we go. We got 5 users now. So let's go ahead and start up for real. Welcome to Truth, Money, and Freedom. Today is I believe the 6th of February. My goodness, this year's flying by. It's 2021. And we have with us live today, Maneco64. If you look down in the description section of this video, you'll actually see links to all of his social media platforms, including Twitter, YouTube, and DLive, and BitChute. So I'd like to start out by saying welcome to Maneco, because we haven't actually talked to him on YouTube for it's been over a year, maybe closer to 2 years. And we got a lot of got a lot of new friends here from WallStreetSilver as well. I'd certainly like to welcome each and every one of them. And this is just going to be a conversation, not so much an interview. So I'd like to start by asking Maneco64 a poignant question, actually, and even though it's a basic one, is it possible? Is there any way possible you can see that the silver market can be broken through SLV futures, I'm sorry, not futures, but calls and put options, or just buying the actual ETF itself? Yep. Go ahead, GFI. They on YouTube we can't hear Maneco. Maneco, could you exit and come back in again? Sorry about that, gang. We'll get this fixed up right quick. Okay, as we wait for Maneco, I agree with his assessment 100%. I really don't think there's a way to break silver through the paper markets. It's far too manipulated. There's incredible power behind this. We're talking. Okay. Let me leave and come back in. I can hear you fine, Maneco. Yep, this happens with Discord, gang. This has nothing to do with YouTube. This is just a glitch in Discord that we deal with from time to time. Okay. Hey, Greg, have you been able to hear Maneco now on YouTube? Okay, still can't hear Maneco. That's weird. Okay. Um, that is really strange. Go ahead. No, I'm hearing him just fine on my end. It could be my internet causing problems too. Um, we'll continue on right now. The recording, actually, we're not recording, which I probably should be doing. Um, there we go. Now we're recording. That way, if we continue to have these issues, we can at least put out a recording with all the voices on it. Um, okay, gotcha. I'll tell you what, those of you watching on YouTube, please bear with us as we're dealing with technical difficulties inside of Discord, but we're going to go ahead and continue the conversation. Um, Maneco had just mentioned that it'd be, not just difficult, but probably impossible to break the silver market with SLV, just because that is a paper game that can be easily manipulated from the other side. And I'd mentioned there's a lot of power players behind silver, industrialists and bankers that don't want silver to go up. So physical seems like the best way to break it. Any other thoughts on that, Maneco? Yeah, I wouldn't be running that down the street and and actually doing that today. I agree with you. Yeah, that was actually amazing to watch. And he did that not only with silver, he did it with an ounce of gold too. He was asking $25 for the ounce of gold. And what's even better about that video he did was he was standing right outside a coin shop. And he said, you can take it in and confirm its authenticity if you like, but I'll sell it to you for 25 bucks. And at the time, I think gold was $1,250 when he made that video. Maybe it was 1,550. I can't remember. So it's so the education, aspect of gold and silver is missing from, I think, many countries of the world. Not all, but many, certainly in the United States. Um, Now, Manico, yesterday we took a little field trip, set up my camera, and we drove down to Branson. Well, we drove, that's relative. I drove down to Branson, and everyone was able to enjoy the drive. And we went to a coin store, and it was Wise Wolf down in Branson, Missouri. And we're going to promote him just a little bit because his channel, this guy's very sharp, but also not only is he really sharp, he also has his own YouTube channel talking about everything that's going on in politics and the economy in the United States of America. And we were able to ask him questions live. And we did, it was a live stream within our Discord group. And he mentioned something really interesting about something. Manico, did you catch all of what he said about, like on the trading floor, something like the commodities index was having a problem sourcing silver on the trading floor? Did you catch when he was talking about that? Dallas, yes. Yep, that's really amazing. And actually, as silver stackers, some of us older silver stackers, we have a lot of younger folks with us too. We've been watching this for a long time, and the excitement of 2011, seeing silver go up, and then only to find out later that that was actually a manipulated move by J.P. Morgan as well, because it was in their interest for silver to go up at that time. They had calls, they weren't shorting, and it seems like that may be happening again. And this is what I'm hearing anyway. I am not. I don't understand the options market. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to that like I do bonds. But it seems to me that J.P. Morgan is long, and the big other eight banks are short. Is that your understanding? Sure. Yeah. The reason I brought this up is simply because in 2011, J.P. Morgan was long. They were. And silver went up. Now, again, JP Morgan is long. I don't think they have a short position anymore. I think they sold out of most of those when they shoved silver down to $12 back in July. And we're talking about paper silver, of course. You couldn't pick up physical for 12. You know, we scoured the internet in our chat group, and the cheapest price we found, I think, was $17.12 or something like that when silver was 12 bucks. We were all over it. We were hoping to pick up silver for 12 bucks. Of course we were. Um, but go ahead. Yeah. Hmm. Yep. And I'd like to invite anyone who's in the chat right now. Once again, chat etiquette. Let's not talk over one another. If anyone has any questions for Maneco64, you can chime in. And Dimmy, yes, Dimmy, thank you for coming in. I'd like to introduce Dimmy to those of you who don't know him in Truth, Money, and Freedom. Dimmy has been an instrumental part in raising awareness about physical silver all over the internet. And we're not only happy, but very proud to have him a part of Truth, Money, and Freedom. He's been with us for about a year or so. Dimmy, welcome aboard. You bet. Do you have any questions for Maneco? Okay, you guys continue on here. I'm going to see if I can work on some audio problems we seem to be having here with the YouTube listeners.
People don't realize is what they call a physical delivery is really just a warehouse receipt. And if there is any exchange of physical, for the most part, it's in the warehouse. They literally take a pallet silver, move it over to the other side of the floor, but very little of it leaves the actual warehouse. Uh,
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
correct understanding?
yeah. I mean, I worked as a futures and options broker for 20 years. And even though the bond markets were my major focus, I did have, we did have clients that did trade gold and silver. That was around from 2005 to 2008. And I tried to get one of our clients, convince him to take delivery of silver. And I asked my boss, and he said, forget about it. We never do deliveries of gold and silver. It's just for speculation. So the warehouse receipts, I guess that's when the big bullion banks and the commercials, when they, trade amongst each other, they don't really deliver the physical. They just you do the warehouse receipt swap, as you said. But I think last year with the lockdowns, a lot of people outside the precious metal space, non-bullion banks and people, what they call the family offices, people with a lot of money that couldn't source physical from the normal places like refineries or dealers. They said, well, let's go to COMEX because they should be able to deliver, and they should really, because technically that's what the contract says, and they did. And that's why there was such a big problem with COMEX. They had to add like 400-ounce bars from London to deliver, and even the spread from the spot to the future, the spot future to like the further months was like $80-$100. So yeah, they got caught really, and they couldn't say, oh, we can't deliver, because it would make it really look bad. But you're right. For years, COMEX is just like a paper game. It's like what used to be called bucket shops, where you just bet on the price.
Yeah, that's my understanding too. But there's a new dynamic that came in with all these new contracts for kilo bars and everything else now, and that's called the exchange for physical.
Oh yeah, that's been
Um,
going on for a long time. It's just a scam. It's done through London EFPs, and there is no physical really. It's just like a musical chairs. They're passing paper around. But if you were to open an account with a futures broker and buy one gold future contract, 100 ounces, I think they have a mini contract as well, but I don't know if they deliver them the mini. But if you called your broker first, you might not even get through, because nowadays it's really hard to get through to brokers. And then if you said, oh, I want to take delivery of 100 ounces, they'd probably say no, or it would cost quite a bit and you'd have to wait. I would venture to say you probably wouldn't be able to do it.
yeah, but when I went through the Comex web pages, and their explanation was you can exchange a contract for physical or a futures and cancel out the contract, right? So the way it works is they actually take the amount of contracts off the float, and that's how it's disappearing. And then they're exchanging after a private transaction between the two parties, right? So I think the actual uh, the price discovery is happening privately between these foreign bullion banks, let's call it, and the people that are running the futures, and that's how they're settling these contracts with actual physical from
Yeah,
around the world. Is that a
I,
right?
I, I'm I'm not even sure there is any physical, because I remember when I worked at MF Global in London. I worked there for like 7 years, and we did a lot of VFPs. Not me personally, but I could see people, other brokers doing it, and there was never any physical. It's just a way to get out of the futures, and then EFP they just settle with cash. So as I said, there's no physical in the EFP, even though they call it EFP. It's just a big scam, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, what I'm getting at is that private transaction between the two. Is
Yeah,
that
there's no
is that
physical, no physical between
you
the
know,
two.
I understand the no physical aspect, but if the offside party is being confronted for say $100 extra an ounce, that's the price discovery happening there, not in the open. Is that something you'd think?
I don't know, but I don't know about the price of the FP. I think is connected to the futures price. But one thing I know is that it doesn't mean that exchange for physical means physical. It's just yeah, it's just another like how can I say? It's just another deception and manipulation of the whole thing. It's not really. I would say all these traders, they probably have never seen a physical gold bar in their lives or a coin.
Oh yeah. Well, anyway, off the GATA dispatch, there's a guy that's reporting there. It says that 80,000 tons worth uh, of physical was, or whatever, EFPs were went through over the last week or so.
Yeah, well, it's still not physical.
Yep.
EFP is not physical, as I said. So
Exchange for physical contracts don't equate to physical, like for instance at the LBMA.
no, no.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's just a way of closing out the COMEX futures, and they do this EFP, but there's no physical. It's just another paper game,
So,
EFP.
so if I exchanged a futures contract with expired at the COMEX for EFP to go to the LBMA, all they're going to do is settle with me in cash?
Yeah,
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah.
I would like to bring up something that one of our YouTube listeners brought up because we were talking about paper, and he did say PSLV is a valid way to get paper that is backed by physical, and I agree. That is correct. SLV is not the way. PSLV, if you must do the paper market, is a very valid way to do it. And Sprott is a good, honest man who runs that fund and also takes delivery of physical silver, and he does do regular audits. So that would be correct.
Yeah, I haven't dealt with a PSLV. I'm not sure. Someone said there might be a limit. I think it's 100,000 uh, something. I'm not sure. Is it 100,000
I
ounces
think it's
and
10,000 ounces,
10,000 ounces, and then each share is 0.34 of an ounce.
something like that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
So if you were going to
yeah,
extract physical, I think that you'd have to extract at least 10,000 ounces in order to do it through PSLV.
yeah, yeah. I guess for someone who has, quite a bit of money, that's a good way to do it. But for like small stackers, I guess that wouldn't be really, if you really wanted the physical, you wouldn't be able to get it from PSLV.
Yeah, I did have another question. I'm kind of curious. We talked yesterday, as I said, when we did that live stream inside of the. Once again, say it for those of you who just came in. Wise Wolf. It's Gold and Silver Exchange. It's down in Branson, Missouri. It's kind of close to my neck of the woods, so I took a drive down there, and we had talked with him, and basically, I mean, the question I would almost ask everyone in here. I know that this thing with silver right now is big in the United States. We asked Maneco64 if it was big in London and or in England, in the UK, and he was thinking probably not because the VAT tax there and everything. But I wonder if it's catching on anywhere else in the world. Does anyone know if the silver thing is getting big worldwide?
Well, I said it's also maybe I wasn't too clear, but what I said is that here in the UK, it's people are not buying as much because of the
Yeah.
VAT. But as I said, I think it was FFV who asked or someone else before. If you look at the websites for the major bullion dealers here, they're running out of silver as well. People are still buying with the VAT. So
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yes, I missed that.
yeah.
Thank you. So the silver futures, do you watch that at all? Are you watching, for instance, COMEX and the silver futures where people are buying those to exchange for physical at a later date?
No, I mean, I have my broker, they show a live price of the spot price. So I don't follow the silver futures anymore, nor the gold future.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I don't follow that as much as well. We wait for the COT report. Ted Butler, Mike Maloney, and several other people on the internet, will basically post a COT report for us, and that's basically what we're looking for usually. So how many people are short and long, but it doesn't tell us how many people are buying futures contracts, how many are out there. And so
Yeah.
yeah, so you see what I'm saying. I'm kind of curious about that.
Well, the open interest usually tells you how, they match on the short and long side.
Hmm.
So it tells you how many contracts have been started long in it. So if it's like 300,000, it's difficult to tell how many, people, how much each person or how many people there are buying those futures. But usually, in the market, if the market is going up in price, and the volumes are going up, that's a good sign.
Okay. Stig reports on the YouTube side of the chat. He said, I asked my local coin shop, and they are receiving unprecedented demand for last week and has given interviews to big media news in Denmark. You know, first time buyers even are coming in. So apparently this is catching on in Europe as well.
Yeah.
You know, evidenced by what you had said earlier.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, let's definitely keep it going.
Yeah, I heard from one of my viewers in Holland. He said he bought some silver and he's going to have to wait 3 to 4 weeks.
Yep. And pardon me. We know that the miners, let's talk about the miners here for a second. Physical, you know, miners. And they're still running at, Mike from Maine, correct me if I'm wrong, because he keeps track of all this stuff, you know, for our chat. They're running at about 60% capacity worldwide for silver mining. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah, a lot of countries curtailed mining because of COVID.
Yes. So,
and of course, we know since 2012, mines have been shutting down and stuff.
Yep. For a variety of reasons. One of which was just pushing silver down so low in the paper markets they couldn't afford to mine their own product.
Yeah, basically.
And then environmental concerns. I remember a mine being closed. I believe it was in Argentina, and that was in 2019.
Argentina, it's on the border between Argentina and Peru. Half the mines in Argentina, the other half's in Peru. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious. Worldwide, we're used to this number being silver bugs. We're used to the number 800 million ounces a year. That's what gets mined worldwide. Do we know what it is after the closures in 2020?
I don't think, because I spoke a little bit about that in my video today, I don't think they have the numbers out yet for 2020. I think in 2019 was like 880 million ounces.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, on the EFP, I just looked up here on the CME Group website. It says exchange for physical EFP allows traders to switch gold futures position to and from physical unallocated accounts. So that's the key word there: unallocated physical accounts. What does that mean? Well, that means that you don't take delivery of the gold. You have claim to a gold bar that other people could have claims to. Mm-hmm. So if it said if it said that exchange for physical allows traders to switch gold futures positions to and from allocated physical accounts, then I would agree that it would be physical, but it's unallocated. So unallocated basically means paper. So because you don't take delivery, so that's why. But that's how so that's how corrupt this bullion market is. Not only in New York and with the CME, but also in London. They trick people into believing. They won't tell you what unallocated is, and that's the key word there: unallocated.
Yeah, I dropped the 3 links in the chat there for anyone who's interested. I think what they're also doing is the contracts that are going off on the Shanghai exchange, they're doing that as well. Doing a, one piece of paper for another type of swap, and then they're taking the positions off of the COMEX, to reduce the volume.
I see. I haven't really looked into the Shanghai.
Okay,
exchange.
If I can break in real quick, Fringe Files, and welcome to the chat today, has asked a question here. It's for Maneco. Is there a risk in the UK for people buying silver under the radar, say on Facebook or Instagram? I know some areas like in Canada, it's hard to get bullion in. They only want to do business with big companies, I believe.
I've bought stuff on eBay, like gold and silver. Hasn't been, it has been recently, actually. And there isn't a problem. I think you just need to make sure that the seller on eBay or Instagram is a reputable seller. So eBay is fine. I think I bought some more like numismatic coins, and it's actually from an account in the Czech Republic. And it took a little while for the coins to arrive because we're under lockdown, but it wasn't a problem. It was really professional. Instagram, yeah, there are a lot of people popping up, and there's a live, they call it a live sale, I think, on yesterday, one of the bullion dealers in the States, and I've been following these pages, and I said bin 5, buy I buy 5, BIN. That's what you have to do. He hasn't come back to take the payment yet, but I think he's how can I say reputable, because, for example, the guy that I spoke to on Monday night, the guy from Royal Coins in Houston, he knows this guy, and they're all like working together. So you just need to do your homework a little bit. But yeah, nothing's ever certain, of course. You just need to make sure you do your research. But eBay, I think is okay if the person only has like three transactions. I would stay away. But if they have like thousands of transactions and 99.9% rating, that should be fine.
Yeah,
Would
Fringe
you have
Files.
to?
Oh, go ahead, Manico. I'm sorry.
No, I finished. That's it.
I
Fringe,
wanted to ask.
go ahead, or Dimmy, go ahead.
I wanted to ask if you would have to pay the VAT tax when purchasing on the secondary market, like on eBay.
No, you don't, because you buy from private. If unless it's a really big company, but if you're buying from private individuals, they're not VAT registered, so you wouldn't.
How about selling your silver back in the UK, Maneco? They're paying a VAT tax to purchase it. Do they get that VAT tax back when they sell back to a dealer?
No, you don't.
That
that's
sounds
why
like a scam
you
all by
don't.
itself.
But the thing is, for example, I started buying silver in '03, and I was paying £3.20 plus VAT, which is around 360. So now it's about £20, so I don't care. Yeah, in the short term, it hurts. But there are websites as well there where you can deal peer-to-peer. I'm not sure what their name are, but here in the UK, I think someone was saying it was Silver Stacker, but so you could deal peer-to-peer. I did that quite a bit when I was at work in the city. When I got new people, friends that wanted to buy silver, we just did it at the spot price. So it's probably better to find someone privately. But I think the dealers are going to have to, here in the UK as well, probably they might have to pay you above spot if they want to get the metals, because if they don't, they're not going to get anything.
No, they won't. Yeah, and that's bullionstackers.com, where it's a peer-to-peer trading site where you can settle, trade, swap your silver, gold.
Okay, I'd like to say again, everyone in here, you can actually speak with Maneco if you like. I asked everyone to observe the chat room etiquette, not to talk over one another, but anyone can unmute their mic and actually ask a question of Maneco if they so choose at any time. So you're all welcome to do so. Fringe Files, thank you for typing in the chat. I think I told you guys earlier you wouldn't be able to talk when Maneco was here, but we've decided to change it up a bit and let everyone be able to talk to him. So anyone can chime in if they have any questions for Maneco64.
One question I was thinking about is how long can the disconnect between paper and physical last? Because I'm a younger guy, so I've never really seen anything like that in the market.
Yeah, I think Rafi Farber, who I had on the other day, he looked at the environment we have right now, where even the spot price is a bit higher than the forward price, which is backwardation, and the premiums are really high. He said the last time that happened was in March last year when silver went to 11. So after that, silver went up in the next few months. And before that, it was in 2011, just before silver traded up to $50. So it could happen. It won't take years, but it will take months probably.
Can you give us a number on that, Maneco? For instance, when do you think there would be such a severe divergence or delta between paper and physical that basically the whole paper market just literally breaks down? Would it be like, 2-to-1, like physical silver's $50 at your local store, but paper's still 25 or something like that?
It's almost that already, but I think what will happen is the paper price will have to catch up, because what people will do is they'll come in, people who have access to COMEX, they'll come and buy the delivery month and take delivery, and then take that silver and sell it, in the retail market and make the profit. But what that will do is that will drive up the futures price, because people will want to buy it, to take delivery, and the delivery, period process takes longer than the buying. So in the meantime, the price is catching up. That's what usually happens.
I've kind of figured that would never happen,
Yeah.
that kind of arbitrage opportunity, because if you remember about 2 years ago, there was a website that was quite popular, and it was called Did the System Collapse? And what they were doing was reporting the delta in between the Shanghai Gold Exchange and the LBMA. And the price differential swung wildly, but generally silver, I think the biggest gap we saw was a $3 differential between silver, and this is converted into dollars, from the renminbi, between, the paper price in America and the UK and Europe, and then Shanghai. And that was, and they don't even, and I'm going to get technical for a bit here. Dimmy knows what I'm talking about with this. We've been trying to find an API so we can actually get some kind of read from the Shanghai Gold Exchange for the price of silver, and we can't find it. No one knows what the price of silver is in China.
And they traded different hours. I remember that as well, but I don't think that was like indicative of what was really going on. And what I'm talking about is people going to the COMEX, buying the delivery month, taking delivery, and then selling that, for $20 higher, but, and what that will do, this backwardation, is drive up the futures price, and that's what happened in 2020, and it happened in 2011 when silver went up to $50 as well.
Understood. And I guess
because
go ahead.
JP Morgan was probably doing that.
That's what I was about to mention. That's JP Morgan was probably playing that arbitrage opportunity themselves. Every dirty trick. Go ahead.
The website in the UK for peer-to-peer is the silverforum.com.
Okay, the silverforum.com.
Yeah, I've heard of them before.
Yeah. Even my bullion dealer told me about them, because he knows that sometimes it's easier to sell. It's better to sell peer-to-peer after you buy from him.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I just brought it up over here. Okay, interesting. Okay, anyone who has a question for Maneco64, you can chime in and ask any questions, have any comments, like to tell a story about your local coin dealer that you go to, your local coin shop. Feel free to chime in at any time. Miss G? Good morning to you, man. Are you still there?
Morning. I'm here. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Do you have any questions for Maneco64, or any comments, any stories you'd like to tell?
Came in to join the chat and hear what you gentlemen had to say.
Gotcha.
I'm wondering if they're going to start having, the private mints are going to start having problems obtaining 1,000-ounce bars again, like they did last March and April.
Actually, the word is
Yeah.
they are having problems acquiring 1,000-ounce bars.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, Maneco, if you don't mind for a moment,
Yeah.
because 100
I
ounce.
listened
Oh,
to.
go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. I listened to Ted Butler the other day. He was on Palisades Radio,
Hmm.
and
Yep,
he was
he was.
saying that the 1,000-ounce bars are key because they're the ones that the silver users, the big corporations that use silver, that's the one they buy. And if that starts running out, that's very serious because us stackers can wait. We can wait for delivery because we just you know hoarding silver. But the silver users, if they don't have silver, they can't. Their business could go under. Because if Tesla can't get any silver, they can't build any cars. So yeah, I think it's really important. But Ted Butler was saying that the 1,000-ounce bars are still around, but that could change very quickly.
What we're seeing here is 100-ounce bars going up in price, holding higher premiums even than the 1-ounce coins and bars, because that's the go-to when the 1,000-ounce bars disappear, I guess. They'd rather have the 100-ounce bars. So we've been watching the premiums very closely on the 100-ounce bars because during the beer flu, the premiums went up on the 100-ounce bars more than they did anything else, and they're still higher if you can find them. That is, they're hard to find 100-ounce bars.
Yeah, my coin shop, they sold out of 100-ounce bars last March, and they were selling them curbside outside the store because the store had to be closed because of COVID.
So it's an interesting dynamic we're seeing here. The 1,000-ounce bars apparently are hard to get, and when I actually called, I didn't make a live stream or a YouTube out of it, but I called up Golden State Mint. It was last year during the beer flu. Forget the time frame. I'm thinking it might have been July. And he said 100-ounce bars are extremely difficult to get now, and that's a major mint here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So
What's that, the Golden State Mint? Or?
That's correct. That was the Golden State Mint that I had called. So, and by the way, they're a great outfit. There's a lot of great, I'm not saying everyone needs to go shop there or anything. I love SD Bullion too, Golden State Mint, JM Bullion, APMEX. Tribulation Prepper says in the YouTube chat, in Las Vegas, I could get all the silver dollars I wanted for $1 each back in 1964. Oh, for a time machine. Yep.
Mm.
And it was a favorite pastime of mine when I was growing up, was literally to go through bank change and extract all the silver related coins. But I'm 49 years
Brother
old.
and I did that when we were young. We did that back in the 90s.
Yep.
It was a collection. We used to go and we'd trade in $100 and just get nickels and dimes and just go through it all. He still has it, so probably should ask him for that now.
Yep. It was easy to do, and there were many of them. I would say probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $400 or $500 half dollars, that are silver. Just by going through bank change. But you could get away with that when I was a kid. It was still there. It's not there anymore. It's really hard to find now.
So how many years did it take for, like, after 1964 for all the coins to disappear out of circulation?
That's a good question.
I'd say,
and I would say it was
5
the early
years.
2000s. Because they were still, Mike, they were still in the change back then, even in like 2000, 2001, 2002.
Really?
No, I know for a fact that, like by 1970, you couldn't really find it. You could find it once in a while in your pocket change, but it was rare. But it was like 5 years after you couldn't find it. And you'd find a rare Mercury dime or a Roosevelt dime once in a while, or a quarter. And 2000, I was still finding the occasional quarter here and there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember we did it probably when we were about 12 to 15, so that would have been like 95 to 98. And even in that time, it went from being relatively common to almost non-existent. So,
well,
MF.
what helped make the silver coins disappear too is that back then there were a lot of small mom and pop stores. You know, every neighborhood had a small mom and pop store, you know, for potato chips and cigarettes and soda and stuff like that. And they were the ones who filled bags and pop, and she had bags of silver all over the place. You know, when she died, I mean, we were finding bags of dimes and quarters and $50 everywhere, stuffed, you know, in the basement, upstairs. So, you know, there are a lot of mom and pop stores. They were the ones who cleaned up the silver.
Yep, it was still available in the change you got every day when you went to the gas station or Dairy Queen or wherever. There was still silver change available into the early 2000s. You just had to look for it. But that was a favorite way for people to collect.
Well, I recently found a silver dime. I think it's probably because of this change shortage, artificial change shortage they concocted.
And
you know, because they want us to move to plastic. So what's the easiest way to make us stop using cash? Well, take away the change.
That's an interesting story in itself. And by the way, we do realize, I'm seeing it here on my screen, that OBS is connecting and disconnecting with the YouTube stream. So, hey, gang, for those of you watching us on YouTube, I will repost this recorded video so you can see the whole thing, and you'll be able to hear all the audio for the first 14 minutes as well. But talking about that, the Federal Reserve actually took in, as part of their assets, I'm not sure if they considered it tier one, $1.5 billion worth of pocket change, U.S. Coinage. And they actually took it out, and that's what caused the change shortage in the United States, was the Federal Reserve. Maneco, did you know about that, or did you hear about it?
Yeah, I heard that a lot of banks, small banks, you know, let's say that in the Atlanta Fed region, for example, they asked the Atlanta Fed for coins, and the Atlanta Fed said, yeah, we can get you the coins, but then they didn't. You know, they had the coins, but they were just blocking sending the coins to the banks. I think it was a deliberate.
Yeah, it was deliberate.
Because Jay Powell said that he blamed it on the beer disease, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I got to Colorado, I think it was the 11th of January last year, and around the middle of February, I had to go to my local bank in Colorado, and I had to go inside. So as I opened the door to go inside, there's these two Loomis guards, and they're on each side of a big dolly, and they got these big coin boxes, and they're clear, and there's no copper in those boxes. It's all change, quarters, nickels, dimes, and it's 3 totes, and it fills the dolly all the way up to the top near the handlebars. And these guys are huffing and puffing, so I open the door for them, and I let them outside, and they go to the Loomis truck, and they start lifting these totes of coins in there. So I went into the bank, and I didn't think anything of it, you know, but they took just about all the change that small bank had. It had 3 totes, you know, and each tote had to be at least 5 or 6, maybe 7 gallons. And this was middle of February.
Yep, I would like to report on what some people are saying on YouTube right now. The Outsider is saying his LCS had only 2 10-ounce bars and 2 rounds for sale. I'm curious, was that this past week, Outsider? For sale yesterday, he said right after that. So that's all they had left in his local coin store.
No, that could have changed.
Yep. And let's see, Green Eyed Flower in Canada, one of our YouTube patrons, says she was lucky she scooped up 50 silver maples last Friday morning, just before there was nothing. Now she's reporting Canadian PMX has some silver stock today online. Hopefully it is there and it's not an order they're waiting on. Because that's what's scary about this situation. There's a lot of places you can order silver from, but they really can't give you an ETA on delivery. They're trying to give you an ETA.
4, 6, 8 weeks, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some of them are just reporting 10 days, like JM Bullion. So, I'm thinking that they don't have it in stock. Now, they're saying because of the shipping delays because of the sheer amount of orders. So
PMX, Timmy, I put the link in the chat there. They're reputable. I deal with them all the time, and if they say they have it in stock, you can go down there right now and pick it up. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be there by the time you get down there.
Gotcha. Understood.
You can either pay with a money order, or you can pay over with a credit card. With the extra percentage.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't want to lose any percentages on credit card purchases.
Yeah, you're just getting hit for the premium for the credit card purchase, which,
But if you look at that link there, you'll see what they have now. It looks like someone came in and just dumped a load because they buy it right there and then it goes right up online.
Yeah, and there's a lot of demand right now, so I mean, it's all you got to do is say shortage, and everybody wants it. And people are trying to buy 2 or 3 times the amounts they normally buy.
Sojourner 1511 reports that his wife works at Wally World, which is our kind of our pet name for Walmart here in America. And she still brings home dimes and quarters that have silver in them, from the change. So that's awesome. That has got to be the change shortage problem. Yeah.
You got to beat the cashiers to the silver, man.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Heathen.
So I have a question for Maneco mainly, but all of you are I'm interested in everyone's opinion. I read this article about how the end game would play out. It was about Eric Sprott. Maybe some of you guys read it. I don't know if you have. I can post a link if you haven't. But I was wondering, so in order to trigger the short squeeze necessary to make silver-free trading, do you think Eric Sprott and his PSLV ETF is going to finally put the nail in the coffin for JP Morgan? And if so, how do you think it's actually going to play out?
With Eric Sprott, the silver is in the trust. So the more money that goes in, the more silver will go in there, and you can actually get delivery.
But what I mean is, you wouldn't necessarily, in order to beat JP Morgan and the manipulation, we would need to get the silver out of their hands and make them unable to actually deliver. So question is how Eric Sprott would do that with his PSLV. I know they actually do have the silver, but if there is no auditing in the JP Morgan's SLV funds, etc., they can just continue to make the limited amount of paper silver and trade it and slam it down every day.
So don't feed the monster.
Obviously, yeah.
Don't feed the monster.
Let me paint a kind of like a good scenario. What if everyone who was an SLV went to PSLV instead? Dump their PSLV ETFs, dump their all their betting on SLV, and just went to PSLV. By the way, my understanding is with PSLV, with Sprott's fund, there is absolutely no betting. You buy the ETF and that's it. There's no calls, there's no puts. It's just buy PSLV. So it's a great way for someone who's in a 401k or an IRA who can't take physical silver because of the fund they have to actually get into physical silver. That's the purpose of PSLV, I believe.
On
but
WallStreetSilver, people are doing exactly that. They're dumping all of their SLV and moving over to SLV.
Good. That will make a difference.
That's the way to do it.
So far I've seen probably $2-3 million worth of posts. Like one guy was, I think, 800K that he switched. Another guy dumped all of his stocks and went to PSLV. So people are doing it. It is happening.
But how would the actual end game scenario turn out? We still need to expose them somehow. So
well,
I'm just
yeah. I think it would be reflected in the price, you know. So silver, if it got up to 100 or 150, that would have a major impact, I think, on interest rates, the bond market, the dollar. So that's how it would, it would really hurt the banks, because the banks, and if interest rates went up, the stock market would probably go down as well. So yeah, I think that's how it would be reflected.
As far as actually
Yeah,
exposing
just
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. Sorry, Tim. Yeah, I just put a link in there to the description. So it's the net asset value premium and discount. What you want to watch on PSLV is it can trade at a premium and it can trade at a discount. So when it's at premium, you can see, that there's demand over and above what they can account for with their actual inventory. Right now, it's trading at a 0.5% discount. So you can actually buy this stock and purchase silver at a discount right now. And it's stored, it's allocated, and it's audited, right? And that's what you get out of PSLV. However, PSLV needs to actually get physical silver, right? So he has to actually announce what Sprott did, I think it was last year or so. He announced that he was going to buy physical silver directly in the market and then get delivery. And that jumped the silver up a few bucks that day or whatever. But unless they actually draw physical from the real world and bring it into their account to put underneath the PSLV, then you're not really drawing physical silver away from the market.
But didn't Sprott purchase a bunch of futures contracts when silver was pushed down to $12?
Yeah, and he's got to get delivery.
Yeah, he's getting delivery though, is our understanding. In fact, I do believe last week he added 1.2 million ounces of silver. That was just last week. There was 1 week he added almost 10 million ounces in 1 week. I don't remember when that was exactly.
That with a futures contract, or is that
I
because he
believe
has to take delivery and bring that into the actual
that was
stock,
physical
right?
delivery. It actually upped. They passed 100 million ounces on there.
Well, he did buy 800 million ounces last March or April, but he can only get like 80 million, 70 million ounces a month out of that deal. But what he just added, that's above and beyond that purchase that he had when he bought 800 million ounces.
Yeah. So if you keep giving him that power, he'll be able to draw from his angle the physical out of the system. That physical has to happen, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And he doesn't play games like SLV does with the stockpile.
So by drawing power out of SLV into actual, Eric Sprott's PSLV is one way we could break it.
Right.
So how, in actuality, is the spot price affected by the SLV ETF? Because is the SLV ETF, as I understand, the spot price of silver is affected.
It's a price. It's a price driver. I mean, the primary determinant for price is the COMEX and the LBMA. But these stockpiles do affect the overall picture.
And supposedly SLV is pulling physical, but we know that this is a game now between the silver owned by JP Morgan at the COMEX. They are leasing back to themselves into SLV. This is part of the shell game. They've been playing with silver for a long time. So this is rehypothecated. So basically what it looks like to the outsider is the COMEX has all this silver, but so does SLV. We have to start thinking on their level and understanding that those two separate piles of silver are actually the same pile.
Mm-hmm. The same pile.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the same silver that's on the LBMA as well.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. So we're rehypothecated 3 times with our COMEX silver?
Yeah. Well, the reason LBMA is so important because in the city of London, you can rehypothecate to infinity, And I think in New York, it's like there's a limit of 3-to-1 or 4-to-1. So yeah, all this gold and silver is being lent out to different people. So it's like a fractional reserve system, just like the fiat currency.
And is it located within that square mile of London where they have special protections?
Some of it, but I think other part of the metals is located in warehouses near the airports and stuff. So it's not necessarily in the city of London itself, I would say. Even though they do probably have quite a bit there.
If I could just make one quick comment on silver and how to break the market, it is to keep pushing physical silver up. They could say silver's worth, they could say silver's worth $8, but if we're spending $100 to buy an ounce in a store, it doesn't take long for people to realize that. First you go and someone tells you, oh, this is the price, it's $100, and they'll scoff at you. Then they go to the next store and they're like, oh, well, actually it's 105. And then they go to the next store and then they find out it's 110. Then people realize the price isn't $8. The price is like 100, 110, and they're going to run back to that first store and buy as much at $100 as they can, and they'll think they got the best deal ever. So the more we raise the price and the more we say, oh, there's no way I'd sell my silver for $12 or $15, the more we go to the stores and we're like, oh yeah, I'll pay $40 for an ounce of silver. The more that'll get into the public mind, and once the public see value in something, it won't drop back down.
Well, that coin shop operator that TC bought some silver from yesterday, he was saying that his customer base was usually people, in their 30s to their 50s. And right now he's got pretty much the full range of age groups coming into his store looking for silver. So the word is getting out. The secret is it's to buy all the physical you can get your hands on. Just take it off the market. Don't let them, be able to.
I'd like to revisit.
I have a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Question.
Thank you. What is preventing the COMEX from just cash settling physical deliveries indefinitely?
That's a very good question. Maneco, would you mind coming in on that one?
Well, the silver contract on COMEX is supposed to be physical, so they would be defaulting if they did that, and that would put a rocket up silver prices, I think, if they did that. So I don't think there's anything, but that's what's preventing them doing it. It would expose the fraudulent nature of COMEX silver. If they cash delivery is, it's not silver. It's just a bucket shop. It's just betting on the price, which it pretty much is already. So yeah, if they came out and said, yeah, we're not going to do delivery anymore, it's going to be cash settled, I think COMEX silver contract would be probably in jeopardy of people completely ignoring it.
Because the industrial users, they go to the COMEX to get their 1,000-ounce bars. And if they can't, they're going to stop spending money at the COMEX. They're going to stop buying the contracts if they can't get what they need.
Exactly. That's one of my questions as well. Like, what happens the day when Tesla or some other big company wants to get delivery and they're saying, okay, the spot price is what, 27, but they can only get it for like 50. I mean, that's going to be one big, oh, the emperor has no clothes. They don't actually have the silver, or the price has been manipulated and needs to be reflected.
Well, some of these guys are going directly to mines. What's his name from First Majestic? What's his name again?
Newmeyer.
Keith Newmeyer. He was saying they came to him.
He also now
asking him to sell directly to him. They wanted to buy his silver.
Yes.
This was last year?
2018 is when he did that interview, Mike.
Yeah.
He said that recently he's going to withhold inventory. So he seems pretty in line with all of this going on, all of us.
Well, he can't withhold too much inventory because then he'd be against commodity law. They have to. At least you have to supply.
He did that last year.
Yeah.
He did it last year, and he cashed in.
Yeah. Well, he's
Made
not
like
going to give
$5
them.
million.
Yeah, he's not going to give them all the silver he mined. I mean, he stockpiles some of it. You know, he'll sell them enough to meet his legal obligations. You know.
But I'd like to revisit what was stated a little bit earlier with, basically how we can affect the price of silver, how that happens when, for instance, the COMEX decides to go ahead and settle contracts in cash. And also, if silver goes up to 100 and then paper silver is still 25, what happens is, basically people will be buying silver contracts for physical delivery. They won't get it. It will break confidence. We have talked about this quite a bit over the years with the confidence in the dollar. When they keep printing more and more of our currency, the dollar, people lose confidence in it because it's losing value. Not because they don't like America, not because they don't like the particular president on the bill. It's because it's purchasing less and less stuff. And that's how confidence is lost. So you have another effect that I'd like to bring in, which is inflation. If they're going to pay off these silver contracts, which are in the trillions of dollars, it's like $5 trillion a year traded on the COMEX. God only knows what it is on the LBMA. And they have to print up currency. It's not like the COMEX has trillions of dollars, waiting in an account somewhere to pay off futures contracts. Any thoughts on that, Maneco?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, but that's the notional amount, the 8 trillion. I guess if you do cash settlement, you'd be paying the profit, so it wouldn't be as much.
Okay.
But I agree with you though about the inflation. The more Federal Reserve notes or credit that they issue relative to real things in the world, if the rate of growth of that is quicker than the rate of growth of the economy, you're going to get the currency is going to lose value. It's the simple law of supply and demand.
It is indeed. We added 30% to our currency base, M1, last year in 2020. We did not add 30% to our gold and silver supply last year. This is why we're seeing gold and silver go up, gang. It's a great hedge for inflation. Keep that in mind. And by the way, we're talking physical here. We're not talking paper. The Sprout Fund is really the only thing that we as a group in Truth, Money, and Freedom have recommended over the years. Actually, over the last 2 years, I think the Sprout Fund is relatively new. But yeah, that doesn't escape us. The possibility, like what happened when they pushed silver down to $12, there's a lot of folks that bought contracts. Peter Schiff, talked about how many contracts he bought, and he did take physical delivery, by the way. So he was able to get silver for $12. No kidding. So a lot of folks, we think that's, by the way, let's talk about this for a second. The deficit in the COMEX right now for physical delivery. This is actually an important point, and I should have thought of this earlier. My understanding is right now, December deliveries, no kidding, are behind by 320 million ounces. They still haven't delivered for December. Going into March, right now, theoretically, there's about 560 million ounces standing for delivery in March. If you add those two deficits together, you'll have an entire year's mine supply there in deficit at the COMEX. Any thoughts on that?
Well, that's just wiped out by the EFPs. That's why we were talking about that earlier. There's 80,000 tons of physical got wiped.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's...
I think the trick will be when counterparties say we don't want EFP, we want the real physical. Right now, the people who are taking supposed, I put it in quotes, delivery, they're just getting unallocated metal, and unallocated metal is basically hypothecated and doesn't leave the vault.
Yeah.
Well, here's my little thing. I've been in 20 years buying physical, and one company that I owned actually started minting their own silver and gold directly from the mine. We can bypass the entire system if we just advocate for companies to make their own coins up and give it to us as a dividend, or sell it directly and from the companies. Then we bypass the entire paper game and take direct physical away from them.
Well, you can go to First Majestic and buy rounds and bars from them.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We can bypass the entire game, the banking system, all of it, just by pushing our the companies that we own to actually deliver their physical to us.
Hmm.
Right?
I think so. It's all about physical. It always has been. Um, we in Truth, Money, and Freedom were astounded when we heard the news that Wall Street Bets was going after SLV. We were perplexed by this.
Why are they doing that?
Yes, this didn't make sense to us. If they wanted to actually let silver, unleash silver, bring it up to $1,000, you can't do it in the paper markets. Shoot, even the Hunt brothers back in 1980, they cleared out physical along with the general public before they went after paper. So they even understood the game. Of course,
They
the rules
started
got
buying
changed. Go ahead.
the Hunt brothers started buying physical in the early 70s because after Nixon closed the gold window, they knew what was going to happen. So they couldn't buy gold until 75. So they actually started buying a lot of physical. And like you said, it was only late in the game that they started going after the futures.
Right. Yep. And that's because they were having a hard time getting physical. But it wasn't just the Hunt brothers. The news got out, and a lot of folks were actually starting to buy physical, understanding
Yeah.
what the Hunt brothers were doing, something very similar to what's
Well,
happening
back
right
then,
now. Go ahead.
back then it was bars. You could buy 1 ounce bars, but that was about it. 1 ounce, 5 ounce, 10 ounce bars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then,
But
the
maybe,
retail sector anyway.
yeah, but maybe it's the same thing. We just needed to hear someone talking about going after silver before the public got excited about silver again.
Yeah.
Because it's been quite a while. I mean, the public did get excited about silver in 2011. I saw that. I
Yeah.
remember it.
Yeah. Well, they're getting excited again.
Yep. But this time, like I said, this time J.P. Morgan is long silver again as well. I'm almost positive that's the case. However,
Oh
that's
yeah.
not true
Yeah.
of the other major banks. They're all shorting it. All of them.
Well, J.P. Morgan wouldn't mind if some of these banks hung themselves with a silver noose.
Yep.
Get rid of some competition. Yeah.
Well, absorb some competition's more like it, Mike.
Well, yeah, they're going to cannibalize their competition. Yeah.
I have a question.
Just like they did to Bear Stearns. Yeah.
Heathen, go ahead. You have a question.
Yeah. So I heard you mentioned something about the Wall Street bets and all of this, but do you guys actually know how all of this silver squeeze started?
No.
Because it is actually not Wall Street bets. It's actually a guy on Twitter called Gold Ventures that him and some other people in our group, he has about 40 followers. We started this. We actually made a post on Wall Street bets, got a lot of people to go in there, upvote it, and in a couple of days we got a crap ton of traction, and people just, it was unreal. Like what we started, in a matter of 3 days, we got like 25 million trending tweets, and from there it was pretty much just snowball. So, but a lot of people think it's Wall Street bets. It's actually just a bunch of gold and silver bucks and investors who
Well,
actually started.
people like Bill Murphy and all those guys, they've been saying you got to go buy all the physical you can. They've been saying it for years.
Definitely. I mean, we just used the traction that Wall Street Bets got, for all of their stuff. So actually quite insane how that turned out to be, in our favor.
Yeah, especially if what's someone described earlier is happening, that the Wall Street bettors are actually going into PSLV. That would help. That would really help.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of misunderstandings in the beginning, like how the people best play this. And the first thing was SLV, but yeah.
SLV, PSLV, they're all the same, buy them all.
No, it's an education process, isn't it? Chaz reports in on our YouTube chat that Robinhood does not have PSLV, but Webull does. So those of you who are trading on apps, Webull does have PSLV. So for those of you who didn't know, I didn't know that either. So thank you, Chaz.
And then what helped is the internet and Robinhood, allowing the average guy to be able to, buy stock, buy silver, buy ETFs without a broker.
The silver price is set on 1,000 bars. So the only way to really squeeze it, to buy enough small retail silver that the dealers have to go out on the COMEX and buy these 1,000-ounce bars and then convert it into smaller stuff, sell it to the
Well,
retail
dealers
that would
dealers like Atmex, that's what they do. They go to Comex. They buy the delivery contracts. They get the 1,000-ounce bars, and they turn around.
If we can get that volume high enough, that'll crash the COMEX.
Yeah.
So that's
a lot of these people pour their own bars. These bullion dealers, like Atmex does. I don't know if SD Bullion does.
Yeah, I'd also like to let people know there is a huge differential, literally between spot and Silver Eagles versus spot versus bullion. And Craig Hemke had a really, really great podcast, and I'm thinking it was in October or maybe September of last year. And he literally, I know that there's a lot of bugs out there that do want to get Silver Eagles. However, he was even saying in his podcast, literally those premiums are insane. Just go for bullion,
Yeah.
And in
the
fact,
days of buying Eagles are over.
Yep, yeah. My local coin shop, which before I started going to Wise Wolf in Branson, I went to one in Nixa, and that's all they have left now is Eagles. Because all their bullion got bought up and no one wants to buy the Eagles because that's got a $12 premium versus the $6 premium they had on bullion.
Mm-hmm.
So, Maneco64, if you don't mind my asking, are Eagles popular in Europe or in the UK?
Yeah, you can get them. I have a local coin shop about half an hour from me. Unfortunately, the shops now are closed because of the lockdown, but I could call the guy there. I know him well. I've known him for like probably almost 20 years now. And a couple of months ago, he sold me some about 10, not Eagles, but the silver dollars, like Morgans.
Oh, the Morgans
sure.
and
Peace
dollars.
Yeah. And a lot of times I give him a call and he says, yeah, I have $half as well, pre-1965. I have some gold, 1 ounce Eagles. So yeah, we can get all of those things here too.
Do you have a premium on? I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Since they're closed, do they deal by appointment? Can you go there, make an appointment and go there by yourself, where it's only you and the dealer and not 20 other people in the store?
Yeah, I spoke to him last week, and he said he might be able to do that. But I know him really well, so he said, "Oh, I've got 10 Eagles, and I can sell." And he can usually, because he's not like a market maker. He's like more like a coin and metal dealer. So he won't go to the wholesalers and buy to sell. He only buy from customers. So let's say if someone went in and let's use dollars to make it simple, and sold 10 gold Eagles for like, let's say $28, he would call me and say, oh, I've got these gold Eagles and I can let you have them at 30, so he'll make 20 pounds, and then he'll just ship it to me. But the problem with him is that he won't have it. If you call him, he won't have it regularly. It depends if his customers sell. But other bullion dealers, the major bullion dealers, they do all kinds of coins. Even though people here in the UK, they try to buy the Britannias because there's no capital gains tax later on, because they're considered legal tender.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but you can buy maple leaves. I bought some Philharmonics last week from Gold Investments. They're Austrian 1 ounce coins, and I don't care about the capital gains because I only bought a few. Capital gains threshold is in the thousands of pounds. So,
do you have?
If they,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have a premium like we do in America on top of your VAT tax, or is it just the VAT tax above spot?
No, there's a premium as well.
Oh my goodness, that doesn't seem fair.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's unfortunately that's the way it is. Yeah. I'm trying to get some coins from Instagram from someone in the States, and I'm waiting for him to say if he can ship it here. Because the VAT, let's say if you bought some coins from the US before 2021, they'd send it to you, and then customs would hold the coins, and you'd have to pay customs 20%. But now with after the trade deal for Brexit, the UK government is asking all the exporters to the UK to claim to charge the VAT themselves, and I don't think a coin dealer in the States in the small shop knows that. So he'll just send me the coin. The customs here won't touch it because they don't charge the VAT anymore. It has to be at source. So that's what I'm trying to test to see if I can get these coins without the VAT. There could be a loophole there. It might be there for a while. Hope eventually they might close it though.
Wow. Okay, if anyone's got any comments or questions here in our Truth, Money, and Freedom Discord chat, chime in. Now's the time. And also, those of you watching on YouTube, type in your questions. I'm monitoring you guys too. Is the bond market reverberating at all, would you say, based on what's going on in silver?
Well, the bond market, the 10-year yield, which is the one a lot of people look at, the benchmark 10-year yield, a few weeks ago, it went up to 1.2%, which was the high for a long time. And then it dropped back to like 1%. And now it's drifted back up to 117. A lot of people it has risen with all the what's going on, also with the 1.9 trillion stimulus been passed. But I think the Federal Reserve, they're going to try to keep that yield suppressed. They'll do that by doing even more QE. And I think the key, I think right now it's still okay. It's no big deal. I think what's the problem for the bond markets is what happened last March. We were seeing the 10-year yield make 50 basis points move in one day, which is something unheard of. And I've traded, I worked in the bond markets for over 20 years. And I even remember when the 10-year yield was yielding 7%, and you wouldn't get 50 basis points move. But and that's what I think we need to look at. If it goes like to 140 this coming week, and then drops to like 70 in the same week, then you have to start worrying about it, the volatility, because the volatility will be really serious because the 10-year yield is considered the risk-free rate of return. So if the asset that's supposed to be really steady is moving all over the shop, the whole system is in trouble. So I would say it's more a matter of volatility than the yield rising. Let's say if it goes to 125 next week, yeah, it's risen, but it's steady, you see.
Fuzzy Sushi in our YouTube chat is asking, do we think anything will happen in March for the COMEX? And we were just talking about that a little while ago. We don't know how many people are officially standing for delivery for silver. We're going by percentages, and the high end is a possibility of approximately 500 million ounces standing for delivery in March. That would be one heck of a delivery month, by the way. That's not normal. But we think people are getting scared. So, Maneco, do you want to comment on that?
To be honest, I don't really follow too much the COMEX deliveries, but yeah, I think prior to last year, there was very little delivery of silver, but now with the lockdowns and everything, it's a game changer, and I think that's why there's a lot of shortages out there. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens in March.
Question.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
Where do you guys get small silver, like the old dimes, quarters? How are you finding supplies of those.
Okay, your volume's very low. I've put you up as high as I could, but I heard something about quarters and dimes or something.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
do you guys find in dimes and quarters?
Oh, in our change in here in America, once in a blue moon, if you're really lucky, and if you're looking just the right way at the right time, you'll find some of our old coinage, American coinage, that still has silver in it in general circulation. And so
But I
that's
think there are dealers as well. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you. But I think there are dealers who will sell they
Mhm.
call it junk silver. So yeah, the coin dealers will also sell you those. And I think on eBay there's a lot of people selling, pre-65 coins.
and Martin Lee is chiming in. He says, "Hello from New Zealand. Been stacking for 10 years, learning all the time." Welcome, Martin Lee. If you look down in the description section, we have all the links for you to find Maneco64 on all of his platforms. Please join his YouTube channel or his BitChute or his DTube so you can keep up with him. He is a very unique personality on YouTube because he doesn't just give his point of view, he also educates. And also he's a reader. So we get a lot of good information, and we buy a lot of books based on some of the book reviews he does on his side as well, having to do with the financial system, how it works. So Maneco, to me, is kind of like Mike Maloney. They're interested in educating the public on how the system works, how the financial system works. So we're very grateful for people like them.
I wouldn't go on BitChute because for the last 5 days I've uploaded the videos there, and they don't seem to upload. They're like
They're stuck.
blocked. Yeah, they're stuck.
They're stuck in
Yeah,
processing. I have the same problem with them.
yeah,
It's growing
yeah,
pains. I've been emailing them, and they're very
yeah,
apologetic in their emails, but they literally say
yeah,
they just don't have the resources, and they're having a hard time keeping up
yeah,
with all the new users coming in.
yeah.
So, okay, anyone else have any questions for Maneco64, comments or anything?
Yeah, and you can go to the coin shops and they'll sell you bags of dimes and quarters.
Yep, some of them, if they have them in stock. But
Yeah.
Maneco was correct. I'm always thinking about it in pocket change because that's the way I've been doing it since I was a kid. But you're absolutely right, Maneco. JD or JM Bullion, SD Bullion, they will sell you bags of junk silver. Absolutely, they will. So you can still get it that way too. And that is a real cool way to collect it too. So I have no issues with that. Although I love bullion, old American change with silver in it, I still see that as very valuable.
Well, the nice thing with junk silver, it's practically premium free. Just you buy it at a coin shop. Yeah.
Okay, anyone else have any questions? Type them in the YouTube live chat. I'll read them out for Maneco64. Anyone else here in the chat live with us, now's your time to ask questions or have any comments or any stories you want to give from your local coin stores. Oh, hang on. Martin Lee says he's been following Mario and Billy for 2 years. Okay. Okay, good deal. Billy is kind of iconic with your channel, Maneco, and your wallpaper was too.
Yeah, we moved the desk around. The
Yes,
wallpaper's still here.
yep,
But
we saw that.
Yeah.
And so,
Billy it was my wife's idea, like why don't you put him on the sofa in the videos?
yep,
Yeah,
Well,
it's part of,
it looks more homey with the dog in the scene.
yeah.
yep. So we do enjoy Billy as well. And yes, once in a while we can hear him snoring. Okay, FFV, any other comments, questions you can think of? Or Dimmy? Anyone who wants to chime in here? Because I feel like I've been hogging up a lot of the time here. Let's see. Oh, hang on.
We've got a lot
Mighty
of people here.
Mandigo typed in a question here in the chat. Sorry, guys, I wasn't watching this chat. I was watching the other one. What's the best way right now to get VAT-free silver for folks based in the UK?
ATC, Zipper has a question on the chat.
Okay, we'll let Maneco take that one to get VAT-free silver in the UK. He did cover that earlier, but I
Yeah,
don't think Mighty was in here at the time.
yeah. One way is to buy junk. We have junk silver as well in the UK. So pre 1920 UK coins are sterling silver. You can find those. Actually, I've bought quite a bit on eBay. But yeah, and also that website that we talked about earlier, so the Silver Forum. So you'll be able to buy silver there from other people, like peer to peer, so you don't charge each other VAT. So yeah, the silverforum.com. I would say personally, don't get too caught up in the VAT, because when I started buying silver, I paid VAT, and it was £3.20. With the VAT was £3.60. But now that VAT doesn't seem like anything, with the price at 20, probably going to 30. I don't really, don't get hung up on the VAT, unless you want to buy this week and sell next week, which is not really what you should be doing with physical silver. You should be buying it as you should think of it as long-term savings. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Zipper Fixer asks, Mario, when was the first time you realized gold and silver were important?
Around 2002, 2001 and 2.
And that had to, would
When
that relate to your job at the time?
Not at all. Not at
Okay.
all. I've always been interested in, the internet was growing quite a bit around that time. And I had read the book Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. And the reason I read that is because I was reading a Golf Digest article about a golfer called David Duval. He was really good at the time in the late 90s, number one. And they asked him, what's your favorite book? And he said, Atlas Shrugged. So that, I thought, oh, I'm going to read that book. And I started looking a lot more into free markets. And then I started looking into the Austrian School of Economics. And they look a lot into the monetary system and to gold. So it was around that time. But no, through my job, not really, even though I was in the markets. No, it's through just by accident, I would say.
Understood. For me, it was my grandmother. It wasn't even my parents. My grandmother taught me what real money was. And she's not with us anymore, but I am still grateful to this day that she instructed me what the difference was between currency and money, because my parents never did. I'd like to say, Sojourner is asking, he's asking, pre-1920 British coins are silver, he's asking?
Sterling silver, yes.
So,
925.
Okay, gotcha. 925 on the pre-British coins.
Yeah.
Okay, let me come back to the... Go ahead.
Yeah, I just got one question. Slightly off topic, I guess. More like the City of London topic we were on. Have you ever heard of Carroll Quigley?
Yeah.
Tragedy and Hope?
Yeah, I've got that book here. He was Bill Clinton's professor at Georgetown, wasn't he?
That's right. Yeah. Is it quite interesting how he basically revealed all the Council on Foreign Relations history and made it public, and then got immediately squashed?
Well, yeah, kind of. But there's another guy that's interesting, Cyril Sutton. He was an English guy, but he was at the Hoover Institution in Stanford, and he started writing about how the Wall Street financed the Bolsheviks. financed the Nazis as well, and then he lost his his job at the Hoover Institution.
Yeah. Well, for anyone who's interested, there's a good good thing on YouTube. It's still on YouTube. It's Tragedy and Hope 101. It's a synopsis of his book. The book was massive and it rambled a bit. It only about 10% of it is relevant to the city of London. So
Yeah.
this is I'll just put the link inside. It's Tragedy and Hope 101.
Yeah. Yeah, this kind of stuff is frustrating because, like, even David Rockefeller, I think, in his autobiography or memoirs, he wrote that he was proud of being a globalist and that but people still ignore that, except for people like us. But I think more and more people are waking up. They hide in plain sight, and I think a lot of people are just not interested, and they're like worried about other things than learning who's really running the world.
Yep, the creature
exactly.
from Jekyll.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, FFE.
No, I was just agreeing with him. Exactly.
The Creature from Jekyll Island was a great book. If those of you who are listening in today who have not looked into that book, I highly recommend it. Okay, we got a question here for Sojourner. Did any of you get the Trump coin? It is magnetic with Donald's bust on it, gold plated. I am not familiar with that, Sojourner. You guys know what he's talking about?
If it's magnetic, it's not gold or silver.
Yep.
So, because the gold and silver are not magnetic.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Sojourner. I'm just kind of a bullion guy. Let's see. I think they were $25 for 3 of them. It seems it's probably like a stainless steel / zinc coin that was a commemorative or something. Is probably what it was. I don't think it was bullion. So they were plated. Let's see. Chaz says, I'll buy PSLV on Webull just to support the cause. I usually buy miners. Miners are a good way to go too, Chaz. And also, H4Z Gray is asking for thoughts on copper coins as a way to get kids interested in stacking. Actually, my thought, let others chime in here, my thought is silver's the way to go while we still can get it. I would encourage kids to get silver if they can. It's still relatively cheap if you look at gold, and silver. Silver is still very cheap. Guys have thoughts on the copper coins? I know that they come up from time to time as a possibility. Any thoughts, guys?
I would just get dimes and quarters for silver.
Okay. Dimes. Go ahead.
It's becoming harder and harder. It's becoming harder.
Dimmy, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, I muted myself for a second. I was saying it's becoming harder and harder to find junk out there, especially at fair prices.
Yep.
Compared to the past, at least.
Yep. I'll give you one more hint. This is something that is the poor man's way to collect. Is if you go to like pre-2010 coinage in the United States, especially on the nickels, they weren't made with zinc at the time. They were made with copper and, Mike, help me out here. Nickels are made with copper and what was it?
Nickel.
Was it actually nickel? Because I thought nickel, they stopped putting in nickels back in the 60s or something, but...
Oh, I think that was in the late 80s or the 90s when they changed the nickels formulation. I think it's mostly zinc now.
It is, because actually the metals within the nickel made the nickel worth 9 cents. And that's why.
Zinc and copper. People are hoarding nickel, the modern nickels now, for the copper in them.
Yep. There is copper as well, but they've reduced the copper and put more zinc in. But that's let's see. Fuzzy asked about Outsider. We did address the COMEX in March. Nevada Cario is saying hello. RJ is saying a few days back, I saw a spot price around $26.50. I bought 10 Walking Liberties for $30. Is that a bad or good investment? Brand new physical silver buyer, apparently. Walking Liberties, hang on, Mike, you want to address that one?
What's that?
He said he bought 10 Walking Liberties for $30.
Those the half dollars?
That's
Or
okay. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. We need to wrap up here because Maneco, we've run longer than we said we would. So, final questions for Maneco64. We'll address the Walking Liberties here in a bit here, RJ. Final questions in now for Maneco64 before we lose our guest for the day. Okay, I'll check in the main chat. And let's see.
Mighty Mandingo's typing another question, I think.
Okay. And anyone here in the chat here can chime in and unmute their mic and ask Maneco a question if you like.
You're welcome, Mighty Mandingo. He says, thanks for coming. Have a great day.
Zipper Fixer asks, what will universal basic income do to the price of silver and gold? I can tell you that. I know that. It's going to make it go up.
Down on the COMEX, though.
Yeah, I'm sure down on the COMEX. I'm talking physical. You're right. Everything makes silver go down on the COMEX. Let's see. How many of you got hurt on a recent silver buy? I've never gotten hurt on a recent silver buy because that's what I do for my retirement. So if silver goes down one day, I don't lament it. I don't cry. I don't worry about it. Nevada Cario asks, should I get into stock? We'll talk about that privately, Nevada. How about that, buddy? Martin Lee says, thanks, guys. H4 is saying, thanks, everybody. See you on Discord later. Okay, I think we should probably go ahead and wrap it up. Mario, hang on, one more question. There is no spoon asks, how does precious metals mining work in a system where gold and silver are both money and currency? Gold and silver has never been currency, to my knowledge. It's always been actual money. But how does precious metals mining work in a system where gold and silver are both money is a better question. Maneco, do you want to take that?
Well, I think how it used to work in the U.S., for example, you found you were a gold miner in West Virginia or wherever, and you found some gold, and then you took it to the mint, and they took half of 1% of that, and they minted whatever coin you wanted, and you get like a $20 silver, double eagle. But it would probably cost you less to mine, in terms of dollars, that ounce of gold. So that's how it works. The miners, usually their cost of mining is a little less than the cost of, the how can I say, the face value of the coin. So that's how it will work, I think.
Also, too, a real good point is inflation would only be how much gold and silver you dig up. That's your inflation right there.
Yeah.
So
I heard that during the gold rush in California in 1849, the local prices there went up because of all the gold they found. But it was temporary and it didn't last very long at all. And in the rest of the country, there was no inflation. So, the above of stock of gold is so huge over the thousands of years that gold finds don't make much difference on the inflation.
That's right. And also in America, I remember reading that basically only 2% was added to the gold supply per year on average. So our inflation was just a standard 2%. But the weird part was that was also the population growth per year was about 2%. So it seemed just a natural, perfect balance.
Yeah.
Okay, gang, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. For everyone who came into the Discord group to ask Mario, some questions. We are grateful. Everyone on YouTube, thank you for joining us. And if you have missed out on this podcast and being in our Discord, it's okay, because you can come into our Discord at any time. The link is down below in the description section. Also, Maneco64's, all of his social media platforms are listed down below in the description section. If you haven't checked out his channel, let me tell you, we here at Truth, Money, and Freedom have been following him for almost 5 years. And we absolutely love his channel, and he provides one heck of a good education and up-to-date information on what's going on in the financial markets. That's why he's such a valuable friend to us here at Truth, Money, and Freedom. So thank you again for joining us. You guys all have a wonderful weekend, and may God bless you all. Thank you again, Maneco.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me here. I enjoyed it.
Okay, the stream